What up, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, time and space? Yeah, it's your boy Tom 202 coming at you one more again. Yeah, and I'm gonna throw out some theories, some meaningless data to some, you know, some hypothesis, some guesstimations, you know, meaningless conjecture that probably proves absolutely nothing. However, it's food for thought because that's what we do on this channel. It's a channel for skeptics. You just throw stuff out there. A little hyperbole here, you know what I mean? Some summations, but not with the total lack of data. No underwear. Not with the total lack of data. I want to talk about the pyramids. I find the pyramids, well, let me just say this. I find all large structures that were built in AD 3,000 and more years ago, Stonehenge, Easter Island, they were all, okay, to me they were all built by the same progenitors that came out of Africa. I think where civilization started, long before Adam. The story of Adam only goes back 7,000 years. There's been ancient dynasties that's gone back 13, 14,000 years. So Adam wasn't the first person here. And then they found people who were, they found bones from millions of years ago. So, it's all, like I said, some theories. We don't have all the information we need. We have some scientists publicizing something, and then we try to figure out if it's right or not, if it feels right in our bones. Because then, another scientist will come along and it'll be completely wrong. It'll be wrong. The coelacanth is dead. There's no more coelacanth. Hey, we just found the coelacanth. Loch Ness Monster, all the plesiosaurs are dead. And hey, the Loch Ness Monster, it's a plesiosaur. I mean, so we don't know. There are known knowns and there are known unknowns. Rumsfeld. But the pyramids, the stones that they've built, and there's pyramids pretty much in every continent. And that tells me something. That tells me that these people who built these objects have the same science. The same science as other people. And they shared that science. When the earth was a Pangea, those people split off in the tribes. And when the earth starts separating because of the tectonic plates, then you have, your continents and so on and so forth that you have now. Hey, however, those people started off as one people. Now, some people say that they were the Minoans, the people of Atlantis, and I don't believe that. Although the Minoans were some incredible people, they would hop over bulls, pretty much butt naked. They didn't kill the bull; they would just jump over them and do somersaults over them and stuff like that. So, but let's get this straight. Let's get this straight. Whoever these people were, and then of course divided off into different people, and then you have your different toned skin people. All those people had the same science. They had the same blueprints, and they were able to build these objects. because some of them look alike. The pyramid in Egypt, in Giza, look like, you know, pyramids in Mexico. There's actually another pyramid in China. And then they found out that here in the Grand Canyon that there are pyramids. In the Grand Canyon, but they won't let you go there. Then you have other large, uh, mountainous looking objects that are not mountains at all. And I got into that. They're not mountains, they're trees. Very, very, very large trees that were cut down or used for resources in one way or another. And nonetheless, so it fascinates me that the pyramids and the way the stones were quarried. You look at some of these mountains that they realize that they're not mountains anymore, like Devil's Mountain. It's not a mountain. That's not stone. Devil's Mountain is not made of stone. It's a tree. But there are other mountains that are like it. And when you look at these mountains and you look at where they cut these mountains, or these trees, you can tell that they went up, a couple miles. But nonetheless, it's like, okay, we know that the Bible says that there were giants in the land in those days. Now these are some of those days, it says there were giants in the land. This is in the book of Genesis 1 and 6. It said there were giants in the land. It's talking about how the angels came into women, and it said there were giants in the land in those days, and in the days of Noah. So you had giants in the land in those days, they were wiped out. And then in the days of Noah, they were there also. So you had the flood, and then you have the days of Noah, and it's like, okay, well, what happened? They were all wiped out. Well, they were wiped out. Well, the angels must have came back into men. They must have came back into the daughters of men. So it just made you think these large creatures are still out there somewhere. Now, even if they didn't build these pyramids, because they would have the strength to move these rocks with ease, it would be like Legos to them. Some of these giants 32 feet tall, and they're not slow. They actually found a whole race of red giants that were, 8-9 feet tall, even the women. And then recently, they just found another giant in Afghanistan, and they killed him. It actually killed one soldier. It skewered him with this huge, But it was a redhead giant. It was 15 feet. And it moved like lightning. This thing was quick. It was like a superior athlete at 15, 20 feet. Strength and all, muscle, everything. So let's picture this. Let's just say that naturally they weren't the ones who built these. I forgot where it is in Mexico, Huacha something, anyway, or in Giza, or the huge pyramid that actually looks like a mountain, but there's an emperor buried in it. But let's say these beings didn't build them. Let's say they were regular humans like us. They just had a blueprint that went all over the world. Easter Island, Stonehenge, and there's more than one Stonehenge. How did they do it? Here's what I'm thinking. Guys, bear with me. This is strictly just off of some information I read and me guesstimating. So I don't mind being wrong. I say it all the time. Here's what I think. I think that they used, one, ley lines, which are magical lines all around the planet. Another is, I'm gonna go inside because the kids are kind of the mosquitoes. One, I think they use ley lines. Okay? And two, I think besides the ley lines, I think they used the Earth's gravity in order to move these objects. And ley lines had something to do with that. Now, ley lines are supposed to be magical lines and all this other stuff, spiritual lines, uh, that a lot of people using sorcery use. But I think they're used for more than that. The pyramids are built when they say the earth is like an egg, it wobbles. I'm not so sure about that. But they say at the earth's lowest point, that's where the top of the highest pyramid is. And it just made me think, they use the earth's gravitational pull. And I know that sounds pretty trivial. Like, okay, we do that too. But I don't think they use, see, the earth's gravitational pull holds things down. I think they used a time in, I think they calculated, okay, how do I say this? I think they calculated when the Earth's gravity was manipulated at a certain point on a certain part of the Earth. So let's just say the Earth is spinning, right? And when it spins, just like when you throw in a ball, a baseball, if you put salve or spit on a certain part of the ball and you throw the ball, the velocity of the ball is going to change according to the weight that's on it. And pitchers do it all the time. When they want to throw a curveball, they spit in their hands, boom, spitball. And they throw the ball, and the ball curves because of the way they throw it and then the weight of the ball. They can change the velocity of the ball according to the speed. I think if the Earth is spinning at so many miles an hour, that the velocity that the Earth is moving can actually manipulate a heavy object and make it lighter. Like I said, it's just guesstimating, but I think this is what they did. Because the Mexicans, the first Americans, just the Indian race, period, on all levels, regardless of what color, they were all able to calculate the stars and travel, even over the sea. Now, the stars can tell you where the planet is, according to, and that's how people navigated back then. This is when they thought, okay, well, the Earth is actually round. Some people think it's still flat, but nonetheless, it's moving. Some people think it's moving 6 meters per second up. It's constantly going up, and this is what, and they think there is no such thing as gravity. We just keep moving up. But regardless of whether the Earth is moving up constantly or around constantly, the point is that gravity does not always hold an object down, just down. It moves an object. If an object is spinning like this and gravity is constantly coming like this, then gravity can slip off of the side of the object. Like I said, this is just hyperbole. But you got to understand, not only did the ancient people do this, there was a modern day guy back in 1960 or 70. He did the same thing. He built a whole garden by moving these heavy objects. I think he figured it out. I think he figured out if the Earth is moving at a certain speed, if you're on a certain part of the planet and you calculate when the Earth is moving, as soon as it hits and boom, this object that is 400 or 500 pounds becomes 30 pounds. I don't know the math, but I think it's simple math. I think an object can be moved if you calculate the rotation of the Earth onto a specific space. I don't know, people. Just let me know what you think. There are some people out there who are mathematicians. There are some people out there who are theologians. There are others out there who just think I'm talking out the side of my neck, and I really like you guys, because you guys will, say all kind of stuff to me, and it'll give me a chance to retort. But then there's the people who actually know. See, I don't think that this information died off. Hitler was trying to build. He was trying to build anything, but Hitler had a group of scientists that committed suicide, and they had a way to travel from one area to another without a vehicle. They would just show up. It was like a bell, something like that. I forgot what it was, but they were able to walk into one place and walk out on a whole different continent. There's been people who have done that. Just they were leaning on a wall or something, went into the wall, came out in China. They were in Europe, came out in China. Like, I have no idea how I got here. There's another man who claimed he was from a certain part of the planet, and then he ended up in another part of the planet, and he had traveling credentials and everything. He just showed up. Boom. They was like, "Where are you from?" He's like, "I'm from this part of the planet." They said, "It doesn't exist." He's like, "I'm from this country." There's like, "It doesn't exist." I think the way that they moved is also the same way a rock can be moved. I don't think takes much effort at all. It just takes calculation. And a simple object, this plate, I don't know how much it weighs, 2 pounds, 3 pounds. This plate would be as light as a feather if you calculated the right speed and the right pressure, and you can just hold it right here, and then boom, this plate would be able to just. That's just my thought. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, there's a lot more that goes into it, but I just don't think it's that hard. I think it's hard to fathom. That's what I think. I think it's a mind over matter, and I really believe that. Now, I'm not going to go and try this myself because it's not that I don't think I'm smart enough. I just don't know if I want to dedicate that much research to something and, find out that I was wrong all along. Because I really don't have nothing but, just slight bit of information I'm telling you to go off of. So, but if somebody has some type of edge on this, let us know, fill us in. Because there's a good chance if you're in a rut and you're like, what am I missing? You get into these conversations and you start looking at it in a different way, you'll probably figure it out. And then we'll all have this information again. It won't be just privy to the powerful people. Regular people will have this information. And it'll make life extremely better for a lot of people. Because a lot of people are struggling in certain areas that technology is not available to them, but nature is always available to them. Always. It's always there. And it's just not going to take much to figure out what it is and how to get it going once you have it. It's just like, oh, boom, here, bam.